I'm Angela,
and this is NFGeeks. All right, so for this video, I want to adjust this. There we go. For this video, we're going to talk about music and how music that we like sort of connects to our NFness, or how we express NF through the music that we listen to and choose.
I like that.
I think, yes.
Yes.
And I think that's also true of all the types. All the temperaments and all the 16 types, and I think there's something about it, and it's not that. And I want to make it clear, it's not that necessarily that the different temperaments or types listen to specific types of music. Okay, so it's not like,
if you're this, you're gonna listen to this.
Yes, it's more like what I really want to get at is the reason why people like certain music, or the expression of the music is touching something within the personality. How
we're drawn to it, kind of thing.
Right. So it could be anything. Granted, there is some sort of clustering that goes on. So, for example, I find, and look, I know there's going to be like NTs who don't listen to these kind of things, but I find that a lot of NTs are into instrumental music, like classical music, or sometimes jazz, but mostly classical. Sometimes various techno things, but very complex music, and that makes sense to me in light of NTs. Granted, I know there's going to be like some, NT who's into, I don't know, something kazoos or something. I know, but I'm really speaking in a very general sense. I find NTs are very much into a thinking music, because when classical music is on, you can ponder lots of things. I know lots of NTs that like either study or read or do intellectual work with classical music. Okay. Now I like classical music too, and I'm sure there's SJs that like, everybody has like classical music, but I find that I can only take so much of classical music. That's why there's the difference. It's not that I don't listen to classical music, but I couldn't listen to classical music like all day. I would get bored at some point.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
So that's what I mean. So the other. So you should think about. The audience. Think about how this connects. I find that American. So another thing is, I find American SJs like pretty standard American bands. They don't go off into the progressive bands or Granted, I'm talking about SJs my age, but I have an old friend from high school, from the before time. The before time. Who was an ESTJ. Yeah. Okay, and he, to this day, loves Van Halen. Okay, that seems to be a very SJ, SP kind of band.
Very mainstream.
Yes,
they're
mainstream
more
rock.
Mainstream.
And there's something wrong with Van Halen. I actually went to see Van Halen with him back in our
youth. In the before time.
In the before time, yeah, not recently. But this is when Van Halen was younger, and it wasn't too bad, But I couldn't. But there was something kind of SJ about it, or his liking of it was SJ. So all right. So again, I don't want to generalize too much. I want to talk about how we're connected, or how your type connects to your favorite music, and it could be anything. So all right. So go ahead, Angela. Why don't you talk about what music? First of all, what do you like in music, and how does it touch your NFness or your ENFP side?
Well, I definitely know that my type of music that I listen to as I got older changed, kind of as my personality developed and how my thoughts on life developed and things like that. I know when I was younger, I was very emo and very just like kind of...
With the Dead Flowers?
Yeah, with my Dead Flowers.
Yeah.
And I used to listen to a lot of, the underground stuff that nobody really listened to, or I didn't think anybody listened to.
Like a good hipster?
Yes, like a good hipster.
Okay, like what? Not that I would know because I'm old, but...
No, but
they might know. So.
I used to listen to Bright Eyes and, Brand New. A lot of very just kind of... I'm going to experience life as it needs to be, how I need to deal with it until I die eventually, which hopefully will come soon kind of thing. Very, not like death, suicidal music, but at the same time, very deep emotional status kind of, I can tell that I'm suffering and other people can tell that I'm suffering too. Why I listen to that music, I don't know, but I definitely felt a connection to it. Like, I felt like I could connect to it. And even now, as I'm getting older, I feel like I grew up on, rock music and, I listened to Alice in Chains back and forth a little bit when I was growing up. So I kind of tittled back and forth with music as I grew up. And, you know, my dad had a lot of things, you know, Van Halen and Leonard Skinner and a lot of things like that. I used to listen to a big stream of things. And now that I'm older, I listen to a lot of country music. I listen to a lot
That's
of...
interesting. That's interesting because, you know, you would, or at least in an earlier time, I might have thought that country music was kind of SJ. But that's not the case at all. I actually know a lot of NFs who like country music.
Because I feel like the reason why country music is liked
talk
by a
about
lot
this,
of NFs...
because I've encountered this a lot with NFs.
So
and the country music.
My idea about NFs and country music is because country music, and when you talk to a country music singer, when I've seen interviews and read articles, it's all about that country music prides itself on, I'm writing about my life. I'm writing about things that I'm experiencing as I'm experiencing them. Because it's not, you know... there's not just like, you know, F this guy kind of song with country music singers. It's, you did something to hurt me, so I'm going to do the best I can to hurt you back by letting everyone know what you did to me in a song. And same thing with, you know, I was married, we were happy, and now all of a sudden we're not. Or, you know, partying, even partying stuff.
Yeah,
country music is very, very, tries to be unintentionally descriptive, but ends up being descriptive anyway. Ends up talking about how, you know, let's go out and party. Everybody loves to do it on the weekend. Let's go out because it's Friday night. We're done with work. And, you know, then even talking about being on a farm, being, you know, working, actually, you know, working for everything, not getting everything handed to you. It's very authentic and very, like, genuine. I don't feel like when I listen to country music that someone else wrote this song for you and you're just singing it. Like I do with some, I don't want to drop names because I don't want anybody to get mad at me, but I have a lot of people that, you know, poppy kind of singers that I feel like, you're not writing this. Someone else is writing it for you, and you're just getting famous because you're singing it. Like,
you don't want to drop the pop stars' names?
Well, like, you know...
Are you afraid that, like, Katy Perry watches NFGeeks?
I feel like...
I find it unlikely
you know,
that she watches NFGeeks.
I feel...
But okay, hey, maybe she does, and that's fine.
You know,
Thank you, Katy.
I feel like Justin Bieber, at 13, did not know what it was like to have his heart broken and all of these things, and...
Okay, we have to take a pause here for a minute.
Okay,
all right, on this issue, because, you know, there's so much Justin Bieber hate. And I know, I couldn't name one Justin Bieber song. Literally, not one. But, you know, he was, and I realize he's older now, but he was just a kid. Like, why hate him? He's just a kid. Like, he was just a kid. Like, all that hate you guys had for him, and you had hate for Justin Bieber. Yes. He was just a kid. He was just like a young kid. It's like, it's the same thing for that kid who did the Friday song that everyone hates on YouTube. Friday. I don't know. My son plays
I have no idea.
Yeah, go check it out. It's a pretty annoying song.
Right. Okay.
But, like, the girl who was, like, I don't know, 14 received so much hate. Like, you know, if their kids don't hate them. Like, okay, Lady Gaga's an adult. You can hate Lady Gaga.
Okay. So
you all right, take the hate down on the teenagers.
Okay. So I won't even do that. But what I'm thinking is people who... All right, I'm trying to think of an example of somebody... so, like, we'll say, like, an actor or an actress who decided that they were going to become a singer.
Okay, sure. There's plenty of those. So
something that is... I can't even think of somebody off the top of my head. But, you know, talking about how hard it is in life and all these other things where you can... And maybe that's my NFness that I can say, I feel like you're full of it. I feel like you're not being genuine. You don't really mean anything that you're saying in this song. I don't feel like you're feeling it. The other thing about me with country music, and maybe that's my NFness kicking in, but I have a lot of country music songs that I'll be kind of tearing by the end of it because it really either resonates with me or I can feel how they're feeling through it, and I don't feel like it's not genuine at all.
Sure.
Okay.
What's funny about old school country music is, like, because you talked about partying, you know, at some point there has to be a part about getting drunk because you're depressed about your woman or something. You know what I mean? There's
drinking
right, at one point,
away.
Right, that comes up.
Yes. A lot of Willie Nelson songs are like that.
Sure.
There's a lot of, you know, even Charlie Daniels had a few of them. I mean, not a lot of Charlie Daniels songs are, like, upbeat, but you go back to Willie Nelson, there are a lot of, my heart was broken, I'm going to try and drink it away, or anything, or party it away. Or...
Right, and I think that's what you've hit on here with this, is that I can see, like, other NFs into country music. I mean, because originally I would have thought no, an NF would never be into this, but that has not been the case. Lots of NFs are into country music.
You know, and it's weird, too, because I feel like as I got older, I started to like it more, because I feel like when I was younger, I couldn't resonate with it. And now that I'm a little bit older, I feel like I can understand it a little bit more. I feel like maybe country music is only if you can understand it. Because I feel like there are a lot of people who hate country music. Don't get me wrong. I know for a fact there are a lot of people that hate country music. hate country music.
Sure.
Because they feel that it's, it's hillbilly or whatever. But I don't feel like it's that way because I feel like it's very genuine. It's a very genuine
Sure.
genre
I think
of music.
It's unfortunately sometimes connected to American conservatism. And granted, there's a whole side of conservatism because country music is sort of from the Midwest,
From the South,
But
mostly from the South.
I don't think, but right, I don't find all the themes of country music to be particularly conservative.
No.
The people who play them might be conservative sometimes, like country western stars may be a little conservative. But I don't find it to be particularly conservative within all the things that they sing about.
Okay.
There's more universality in country music than we give it credit for.
And that's also another thing I want to talk about, too, is the other things that I like, two particular bands that I like. I really like Dave Matthews and Dispatch because they're very universally driven. They're very globally driven. Dave Matthews is from Africa. He grew up there. He was born there. He had his family there. All of the guys in his band are from there or know of being from there. And they talk a lot about, and he's done a lot of things outside of his music where he's given back to people and he's really, wanted to play the right music. And when you listen to his music, it's very emotional and very, definitely NF because a lot of his songs are very sexual and very under the table, very sexual. But obviously you can tell if you can resonate with it or if you can understand it. And I feel like that gives him a lot of haters because there are people that are like, oh, he's just I don't like him and he's just too bland, too whiny or whatever. And I don't agree with that. I think that it gets me upbeat. I really love it. It's even on my it's even on my Get Some list.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
Sure, yep. Okay.
And the other one...
I'm old. We would call that a mixtape.
The mixtape.
For specific purposes, yeah. But I'm old.
That's okay.
I have plenty of those around.
And the other one being Dispatch is because they have a lot of, like I said, a lot of...
Okay, are they I don't know who that is.
No, they're, I don't know if they would be genre-wise as, almost, kind of folk, kind of, foreign a little bit, because they have a lot of, bongos and... but they have a mix. They have, the bongos, harmonicas, instruments I've never even heard of the name of them.
That's great.
Kinds of
it's
guitars.
Like a hipster band. Where
they're very
They're
hipster.
hipster in the band.
They are.
I'm too cool to play bass guitar.
They are very hipster.
So I'm going to play glockenspiel.
Yes. They are very hipster. I'm telling you they are because,
hipsters, you guys crack me up.
Even when they used to play in Boston, they had a lot of, they had a concert I heard about in Boston where it was completely free, but it was so huge that if they were selling tickets, they would have sold out, would have had, there were people sitting in trees just to watch them. And people loved them, and they separated for a while, and some of them kind of went different ways and went to different bands. But there are bands that have come out who wanted to be like them, who their music is very similar to them. And, it's just very out there, but it's also good in my NFness. I can feel like it gets me going. I'm excited about it. I love to listen to it. I love to sing with it. I love to jam to it. And at the same time, they also have a lot of songs that are driven to, hey, it's not just about us being famous. We also want everyone to pay attention to other countries where they're not having, such an easy time as we are. And they're not so about making the money as much as they are about maybe spreading the word, the fact that, hey, there are other parts of the country that, other parts of the world that aren't as well off as we are, and we should be paying attention to those things. And I like that because I'm kind of like that where I almost wish I was a little more out there to the fact where I could say, hey, let's all pay attention to other countries and pay attention to the fact that, there are kids starving. And
so the idea of the deeper message connects to your
me.
NFness. All right, can you talk about that more? What exactly is it tapping into?
I don't want to insult them if I get it wrong, so I'm not really sure exactly.
Who are we insulting?
Any of the bands that are doing, in Dispatch, I don't know exactly. I know it's in Africa, kind of the area over there, more third world kind of countries.
Okay.
And I know it's a lot of, they actually have some songs that are in a different language where they've learned the language and it's all bongos and very, not very mainstream instruments. Like I said, instruments I've never even heard of.
Right, of course.
But I love it. And it's even if you don't understand it, I feel like I can still get the emotional tap in that song. So even if I can't understand a word of the song, I still feel like I'm like, oh, this is an awesome song because I can
sure.
just sit and hang out with it, and it gets in my head, you know? And it's almost like I can feel what it's trying to put out. You know, I feel like that's my NF kicking in, where I can feel the emotional change throughout a song of if this person's coming out trying to say something or what. And I don't know if maybe is the same thing with you, if you feel that way, but I definitely feel that it does attach to my NFness.
All right. Well, then we'll continue this in another video.
Awesome.
All right. Great.